"Call the police. He's trespassing." That's what she screamed, the woman I'd never seen in my life, when I unlocked the door to my own cabin after 18 months away. And I swear, for a second, I thought I was having some kind of grief-induced breakdown. Imagine this. You come back to your father's place after dodging it for over a year, heart raw, thinking maybe you'll finally face the memories, and instead you find a complete stranger acting like she owns the land, bossing around a group of 20 women in designer yoga pants, all chanting in a circle by the lake, my dad's fishing poles stuck in the dirt like holy relics. I just stood there on the porch, stunned, while this lady Nicole, right? She'd call herself, started barking orders into a radio, her voice crisp, "All security. Remove the disruptive masculine energy." And I'm looking around for cameras because it feels like a joke, right? Except it's not. And let me tell you, it only got weirder. Nicole was running a full-blown operation out there. Security with earpieces flanking the property, catering vans idling out back, clipboards with guest lists, name tags that read, "Ancestral Fisherman Wisdom Ceremony." She'd somehow convinced these rich city women that my dad, who used to tell off-color fishing stories and fall asleep watching baseball, was some kind of mountain shaman, and that she, Nicole, was the keeper of his legacy. For the privilege of communing with the wise fisherman's spirit. Each woman had paid her $2,000. That's not a typo. And she was waving around what looked like permits, referencing some Mountain County Wellness Management Act. And when I asked her to explain herself, she rattled off fake legalese so smoothly I almost doubted my own right to be there. She'd even managed to forge paperwork with county seals, and her rent-a-cop security believed it. Now, here's the kicker: she looked me dead in the eye and said my absence had triggered community usage rights. She claimed I'd violated spiritual inheritance law by abandoning my obligations. If you've ever had a professional con artist take control of your life in real time, you know the chill I felt. I mean, I work in tech, so the first thing I did was start recording with my phone, tucked in my jacket, documenting everything. But grief, that raw feeling I'd been avoiding for 18 months, had just gotten replaced by pure adrenaline. My sacred ground, Dad's cabin, wasn't just under siege, it was being weaponized for profit by someone who barely knew his name. After the ceremony, wrapped up and the last Mercedes rolled out, Tom Bradley, an old friend of my dad's and retired cop, pulled me aside, eyes darting like we were in a spy movie. "You don't know the half of it, Owen," he said. Turns out, Nicole had spent a year worming her way into the community, spinning tales about how I'd run off and abandoned my father's legacy, building support for her little empire. There was even a recovering addict named Crystal in the mix, supposedly here for healing but really asking way too many questions about my schedule and finances. Back home, I let my cybersecurity instincts kick in and did a deep dive on Nicole. That's when I found her professional website, Mountain Serenity Ancestral Retreats, with glossy photos of my dad's tackle box labeled as a sacred artifact, testimonials from people who felt the fisherman's energy, and bookings for 6 months out, including a bloodline healing intensive for $25,000. And then my heart really dropped. Scheduled a viral celebrity transformation event for the next day with Brooke Sterling, an influencer with 50,000 followers, and a professional film crew. Nicole wasn't just trespassing, she was about to turn my family's pain into online entertainment. Nicole's scam had layers: fake reviews, bought followers, cross-state bookings, and a polished digital presence that screamed legitimacy. Her operation spanned Colorado, Oregon, California, you name it. And her fake containment protocol orders made sense now. She was running a multi-state property takeover playbook. The recovering addict, Crystal, wasn't just a plant, she was surveillance, gathering dirt on me to weaponize later. The community's compassion was her camouflage. And the local government? My lawyer, Jake Morrison, sniffed out that the county commissioner, Clark Williams, had been quietly rubber-stamping Nicole's permits for months, covering up for a $50,000 gambling debt. She was paying off his creditors, controlling him like a marionette. But it didn't stop there. Jake's background check dropped the bomb. Nicole was actually Dr. Rebecca Santos, a disgraced therapist stripped of her license for manipulating grieving families. Her sister, Crystal, real name Jennifer Santos, professional fraudster. Together, They'd made a business out of preying on people like me, people so lost in mourning they could be convinced their grief was a legal violation. Now, I wasn't going down without a fight. I invented a fake persona, David Miller, hacked into Nicole's booking and financial records, gathered a treasure trove of evidence. Meanwhile, Nicole filed police reports portraying me as a violent, unstable threat, building a paper trail for a restraining order, painting herself as a victim. And it worked. When the police came knocking, it was me they questioned about trespassing in my own property. It was like psychological warfare. Nicole anticipated every argument. My absence? Grief makes people unstable, she said. Here's a fake evaluation. My ownership? Spiritual significance transcends property law, she argued, backed by reams of forged documents. She turned the community against me, got a judge to slap me with a 500-foot restraining order from my own cabin, just in time for her celebrity retreat weekend. Here's where it twists. Brooke Sterling, the influencer, wasn't as naive as Nicole thought. After I quietly told her the truth, Brooke realized she could get more engagement exposing a scam than promoting it. She livestreamed the confrontation. I'm being scammed by a fake healer using a dead man's belongings. Nicole melted down on camera, calling for my arrest, but the whole world could see who the real villain was. Comments exploded. People shared their own stories of spiritual fraud, and suddenly the scam was crowdsourced for investigation. Nicole's house of cards crashed, her fake reviews, digital fingerprints, all exposed in real time. Crystal's cover got blown, too. Tom Bradley recognized her comms gear as professional, not recovery program hand-me-downs. With the scam exposed, official agencies swooped in, state tax investigators, law enforcement, even the feds. Nicole's web unraveled fast. Jennifer Santos flipped, giving up victim lists, training materials, the works. Turns out, Nicole was running nearly identical scams in 5 states, targeting $8 million in inherited property. Nicole went nuclear, threatening to release everything she'd dug up about my messy divorce, depression, therapy, and financial woes to ruin my life if I didn't back down. But Brooke's livestream had already turned the tide. Thousands rallied, sharing their own vulnerabilities, forming a shield I never expected. When Nicole's goons tried to jump me in a parking lot, Tom's retired cop friends were ready, and we had the security footage to nail them for intimidation. Federal prosecutors moved in, armed with Jennifer's testimony and all the digital receipts I'd gathered. Nicole got 8 years in prison and $300,000 in restitution. Her assets, auctioned off crystals she sold for hundreds, now went for $2 a pop. Commissioner Williams went down for corruption, his career dust. And Brooke? She flipped her channel to expose frauds like Nicole, reaching millions, turning tragedy into advocacy. The Cabin Me Dad's place finally became a home again, not a sideshow. We had a quiet gathering, neighbors apologized, and for once, the healing felt real. Brooke's documentaries trained law enforcement, and together, we built a verification app to help families spot scams before they started. It didn't erase the pain, but it kept others from falling into the same trap. But closure's never really final, is it? An Oregon detective called one night. Nicole wasn't the leader, she was middle management. Turns out this was just one branch of a bigger syndicate. Crystal called, voice trembling. I think they found my new address. There are always more shadows out there. Always someone else ready to prey on pain. So that's the story of how I went from grieving son to accidental expert, how we fought back against a network that profits off loss, and how an entire community found its spine again. If you've ever had your world turned upside down by someone who thinks grief makes you weak, if you've seen justice served where you least expected it, let's hear your story. Was I right to fight the way I did? Or is there more to justice than one man's war? Drop a comment below, because when it comes to protecting what matters, sometimes the only way forward is through.